So, hello students, welcome to V Karnataka. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಟೀಚರ್ ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಸರ್. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೂ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್, ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ reproductive structures and also something called as gametogenesis. See students, this is your entire chapter. Male, female, gametogenesis, menstrual cycle, fertilization and implantation, pregnancy and embryonic development, parturition and lactation. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಈ ಮೂರು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ನ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ reproductive system, gametogenesis. ಇದೇ gametogenesis you will be studying two main things there. Gametogenesis you will be studying something called as spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So students, quickly let me know in the chat if you're ready for today's amazing class, because I am. Okay. Now students, before I start, let me show you a small demo. Which type of question you can expect? See here. You can get such direct questions. All of these are snips from your previous year question paper. Nimde KCET question paper ideyala, sarina? So you can get question paper like this. You can get match the following questions. You can get questions, very similar questions again. You can also get questions like this. Human female endometrium of uterus consists of, or sometimes you can get such questions. So stay tuned till the very end if you want to solve all those questions also. Okay, so at the end we'll solve questions. First we will understand the concept and then we will solve the questions. Ready na ellaruna? Ready na? So ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಈಗ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಚಾನಲ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಹೊಸಬರಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಚಾನಲ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸರಿನಾ? So let's start students. First of all, what is the meaning of the human male reproductive system and location of it? So students, what is the location of it? The human male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. Pelvic andre between the two coxal bones, abdomen regionally. Okay, that is, the male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region, in the abdomen. It includes a pair of testes along with axillary ducts, glands and external genitalia. Students, first thing we artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ, that is, there is something called as primary sex organ. There is something called as primary sex organ here. Okay, every single primary sex organ, it could be male or female. In the case of male, it is called as testis. It is called as testis, and the primary sex organ should be able to produce. It should be able to produce something called as gametes. Something called as gametes, and at the same time, the primary sex organ should also be able to produce, along with gametes, something called as hormones. Hormones. Now, students, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ ಬೇಗ. What do we call the gametes? In the case of testis, the male reproductive structure, testis is the primary sex organ and it is able to produce a gamete. Yes or no? Tell me students. Yes or no? It is able to produce something called as sperm, that is the gamete, and at the same time the hormone also, right? Students, voice tumba low idya? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ವಾಯ್ಸ್? ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ? ನನಗಂತೂ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ವಾಯ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ? ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ? ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. The hormone is going to be testosterone or the testosterone. Sarna? Testosterone is going to be the hormone. Sarna? So primary sex organ is able to produce gametes. It is able to produce hormone. Androgen, testosterone is a simple example. Testosterone is a simple example. First point artha aayta ellarguno. So pair of testes andre into two, along with axillary ducts, glands and external genitalia, that is penis. Okay. Now students, you need to understand the location of testis also. Naan ande nimge it is in the abdominal region anta helde. But did you know it is not exactly inside abdominal cavity, right? Now it is away from the abdominal cavity in a pouch like structure called as scrotum. Sarna? So the testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity. Abdominal is there, but outside the abdominal cavity in a pouch like structure called as scrotum. The scrotum helps me, very important. Previous year question idu, in KCET lu kuda bandide, multiple times bandide question idu. Why the scrotum? That is a simple question. What is the question now? The scrotum helps in maintaining the low temperature of the testis. That is, akasmat sperm production agbekandre, for the production of sperm, the temperature should be less than the body temperature. For example, nan body temperature ಒಂದು 30 degrees ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, 30 degrees ಇಂದ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಸರಿನಾ? ಸೊ 2 to 3 degrees ಲೆಸ್ ದೆನ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಗಿಂತ 2 to 3 degrees ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸರಿನಾ? Here the scrotum helps in maintaining the low temperature of the testes 2 to 2.5 degrees lower than the normal temperature. That is important for spermatogenesis. Sperm production ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. Is that point clear to all of you? ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕೈ ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೈ ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ? Now students, one of the most important concept ಈಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Inside a testis, ಒಂದು ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ there are something called as 250 compartments. 250 compartments. One testis ಒಳಗಡೆ there are 250 compartments right now. 250 compartments inside one testis. Okay, understand. This 250 compartments are called as testicular lobule. It is called as what? Testicular lobules. Sarina? Now students, inside each testicular lobule, one testicular lobule ಒಳಗಡೆ ಈಗ there is 1 to 3 highly coiled structure. 1 to 3 highly coiled structure called as seminiferous tubule. One minute, students. Seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule. Now I'll tell you one perspective. Very simple perspective. ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮನೆ ಇದೆ ಸರಿನಾ, ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮನೆ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ 250 ರೂಮ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. 250 ರೂಮ್ಸ್. Inside every single room there is 1 to 3 window. Okay, so one entire house, 250 rooms, inside every room 1 to 3 window. So one testis, 250 compartments called as testicular lobule. Inside each room, inside each testicular lobule, 1 to 3 highly coiled structure called as seminiferous tubule. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್? ಅದು ಇಷ್ಟು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, see, the testis is covered by a dense covering. Each testis has around 250 compartments called as testicular lobule. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರಿನಾ? Now each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled structure called as seminiferous tubule. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? So we have something called as seminiferous tubule now. ಈಗ seminiferous tubule ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನಿದೆ? That is also very important question. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರಿನಾ? ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. This is one seminiferous tubule. ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇದು. This is the seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule. Now inside the seminiferous tubule ಒಳಗಡೆ there are two types of cells. Okay, ಏನದು ಮಾಡೋದ? ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? ನಿಂದು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಸೊ ಒಂದು seminiferous tubule ಒಳಗಡೆ at 1 to 3 highly coiled structure ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ, inside every seminiferous tubule there are two types of cells. Now understand students, understand all of you. Okay, two types of cells. One is called as Sertoli cell. This is called as Sertoli cell. Sertoli cell provides nutrition provide ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Sertoli cell is also called as nurse cell. It is also called as nurse cell. It helps in spermiogenesis. Help ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇದು. Spermiogenesis ಅಲ್ಲಿ help ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Okay. The other cell, can you see here? The other type of cell is called as male germ cell. It is called as what? Male germ cell. Also called as, the male germ cell is also called as spermatogonia. It is also called as what? It is also called as spermatogonia. Now students, remember students, ಇದೇ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಗೋನಿಯಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, this is diploid. ಇದೇ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಗೋನಿಯಾ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನರ್ವ್ ಸೆಲ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ 1 seminiferous tubule, inside there are 2 types of cells. Done. Now students ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, this outer part, this ಆಚೆ ಜಾಗ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, this outer part is called as interstitial space. ಈ interstitial space ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have a interstitial cell. We have something called as interstitial cell. The other name for this interstitial cell is also called as what? Leydig cell. Also called as Leydig cell. So ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇದೇ Leydig cell ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಂಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸರಿನಾ? So first we have the Sertoli cell, nerve cell providing nutrition, male germ cell or spermatogonia undergoing meiosis to produce the sperm. Then we also have in the interstitial space, interstitial cell called as Leydig cell, which produces androgen, the testosterone. Points pokka ellaru clear ಆಯ್ತು ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Each seminiferous tubule is lined on the inside by 2 types of cells called as male germ cells, spermatogonia or Sertoli cell. The male germ cells undergoes meiotic division to finally lead to sperm formation. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, this is the meiosis here. Undergoes meiosis to produce the sperm. Okay. Now, the male germ cell undergoes meiotic division to finally lead to sperm formation, while the Sertoli cell provides nutrition. This provides nutrition. Okay. It provides nutrition. While Sertoli cell provides nutrition to the germ cell, the region outside the seminiferous tubule is called as interstitial space. In that we have the Leydig cell. Apart from Leydig cell, there is also WBC there. There's blood vessels ella ide illi. Okay. So WBC, blood vessels kuda aache ide illi. Sarna? Aache gade we have WBC as well as blood vessels also. So students, easy na ilva artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಇದೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ವೈಸ್. ಓಕೆನಾ? Next thing you have to understand is the structure of the male reproductive structure, entire structure. Now students, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ನ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. See, can anyone tell me where is the sperm produced now? All of you will tell me sperm is produced inside the testis. Okay, inside testis. Illinda sperm ಆಚೆ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ. Okay. The first place the sperm travels is called as rete testis. The sperm is going to rete testis. After rete testis, the sperm is traveling to vas efferentia. It is going to epididymis, the longest region. Epididymis it is going up to vas deferens. Okay. Now vas deferens ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, this point right here is called as ejaculatory duct. It is called as ejaculatory duct. ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನೋಡಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. This point right here is called as ejaculatory duct. Why? Very simple answer again students. ಈ ejaculatory duct ಅಲ್ಲಿ there are 2 ducts are meeting here. In the ejaculatory duct right here, 2 ducts are meeting together. That is, the first one is from vas deferens. And the other one is from seminal vesicle. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನೋಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. ಈ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ seminal vesicle ಇಂದ ಈ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿದು, ಇದು seminal vesicle, ಪೇಡ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಈ seminal vesicle ಇಂದ ಒಂದು ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈ 2 ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನಾವು ejaculatory duct ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So one is called as vas deferens, other one is from your seminal vesicle. So 2 ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. The point of meeting is called as ejaculatory duct. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ, ಈಗ ಹೌದು ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ. You can also see something called as prostate gland, which is present as single. Bulbourethral gland present as 2 here. Illondu. Then finally there is a long passage called as urethra. Students, remember, urethra is a common passage. For release of sperm and urine both. It is a common passage. It is a common passage. Sarna? It is a common passage for release of sperm as well as urine. And finally, the sperm is traveling towards the end of the penis. The swollen end is called as the glans penis, and the opening is called as urethral meatus. Urethral meatus, ange aaje sperm baratte. Ejaculation agutte. This is the entire reproductive structure. Now, illinda nimage question heng barbodu. Question ಏನು ಕೇಳಬಹುದು? First, ಈ flow chart 1, 2, 3, 4 ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. After that, they can ask you what are the glands present here and functions of each gland. For example, students, understand what are the glands here. Students, clear ilva illi? Is the screen not clear? Tell me, students, is the screen not clear to all of you? ಇದೆಯಾ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತೀಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗೆ ಬರ್ದಿರೋದು? ಬೇಗ 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 ಹೇಳಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ? ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು? ಇನ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು? ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್. ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬ್ಲರಿ ಇದೆಯಾ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ತಾನೆ? ಆ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ಸರಿನಾ? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಈಚ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 3 ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as seminal vesicle, second one is called as prostate, and third one is called as bulbourethral. ಈ 3 ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. 3 ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇಂದ ನೀವೇನು ಓದಿರೋ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಬರ್ದಿದೆ. urethral meatus is the final opening. ಸರಿನಾ? ನೋಡಿ, ಇದೇ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ seminiferous tubule. Inside we have 2 types of cells: spermatozoa, which is the sperm; spermatogonia, male germ cell; interstitial cell called as Leydig cell; Sertoli cell is your nurse cell. ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ ಇದೆ. ಇದು interstitial cell ಮಾತ್ರ ಆಚೆ ಇದೆ. ಸರಿನಾ? Now students, what is the different glands and function of each gland? ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸರಿನಾ? First gland is called as seminal vesicle. It is always paired. ಎರಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. A prostate single ಆಗಿದೆ. Bulbourethral gland again paired. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಪಲ್. ಇದು ಕೂಡ ಕಪಲ್, ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಸಿಂಗಲ್. ಇದು ಸರಿನಾ? Secretion of these glands constitutes seminal plasma. ಸರಿನಾ? seminal plasma ಬರುತ್ತೆ. There will be fructose, calcium, enzymes ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸರಿನಾ? which is rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸರಿನಾ? from the prostate and seminal vesicle. ಅದೇ bulbourethral gland ಏನು? The secretion of bulbourethral gland also helps in lubrication of the penis during intercourse. That is the end of it. That is the end of male reproductive system. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಏನೇ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೇಗ ಕೇಳಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಬೇಗ. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಏನೇ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ ಬೇಗ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ they will ask you what is Sertoli cell, what is they can ask you what is male germ cell. They can also ask you something called as what is Leydig cell function, or what is the function of the 3 glands. ಅದ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಏನು ಆಚೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. KCET ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಿಮ್ದು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದರಿಂದ ಆಚೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಸರಿನಾ? ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ 5 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅದು. ಸರಿನಾ? ಸೊ ಐ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಟಿಲ್ ನೌ. ಅಮೇಜಿಂಗ್. Now students, female reproductive structure ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಈಗ. Understand the female reproductive structure. Very easy again, very easy understand. Female reproductive structure ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ we have something called as primary sex organ. Primary sex organ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ. Okay, primary sex organ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. The primary sex organ here we have the ovaries. Now students, tell me, primary sex organ should be able to, a primary sex organ should be able to produce what? Gametes and hormone. Gametes and hormone at the same time. Yes or no? Tell me. So this ovary should be able to produce gametes as well as the hormones. Okay. Should be able to produce gametes and hormones. Iga, we have the gametes here is called as the egg. Gametes is called as the egg, and the hormones is the 2 different hormones. One is progesterone, other one is called as your estrogen. Progesterone as well as the estrogen. Progesterone as well as the estrogen. The two different hormones released by the primary sex organ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? Now again, location ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದು? Location is always in the pelvic region. ಸರಿನಾ? A pair of ovaries along with a pair of oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina and external genitalia located in the pelvic region. Pelvic region. These parts of the system along with pair of mammary glands are integrated structure and functioning to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, childbirth and childcare. Okay, this is called as the female reproductive structure. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನೋಡೋದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡಿಕೋಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನ, ಸರಿನಾ? Now before we go to understand the diagram of the entire structure, now we will see the diagram representation of the ovary. Ovary ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? For example students, ಇದು ನೋಡಿ, this is the ovary right here. For example, this is the ovary. This is the ovary right here. ಈ ಓವರಿಗೆ ಔಟರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಔಟರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಓವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಔಟರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಇದೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? The outer layer is called as epithelium. ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಇದು? This is called as epithelium. Epithelium. ಸರಿನಾ? It's called as epithelium. ಬರೀತಲ್ಲ ಇದು? It is called as epithelium. Then students, then we have the inner part. Inner part. The inner part is called as ovarian stroma. It is called as ovarian stroma. It's called as ovarian stroma on the inside. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ಈ ovarian stroma ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, it is now further divided into two parts. The ovarian stroma is further divided into two parts now. The entire ovarian stroma ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. For example, the inner part is called as inner medulla. It is called as inner medulla. Inner medulla. ಇದೇ inner medulla ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ blood vessels ಇರುತ್ತೆ, lymphatic vessels ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, okay, and also nerves ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬಾ nerves ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Inner part of the ovarian stroma. ಅದೇ outer part ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಇದು outer part. ಇದು outer part is called as outer cortex. It is called as outer cortex. Outer cortex. ಅದೇ outer cortex ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? outer cortex ಅಲ್ಲಿ ovaries ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ or follicles ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ovarian follicles. Ovarian follicles formation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Follicles formation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. This is the entire structure of the ovaries. ಒಂದು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. This outer layer is called as epithelium. Outer layer is called as epithelium. ಸರಿನಾ? Then inner part is called as it is called as ovarian stroma. Ovarian stroma ದಲ್ಲಿ this is the periphery. Can you see? In the periphery follicles ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಹೌದು. Periphery ಆಚೆಗಡೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ outer cortex ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಫಾಲಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಮಿಡಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ? ಇದರ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ಓನ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ವೆಸಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ವೆಸಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಓವರಿ. ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಓವರಿ. ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. The primary sex, ನೋಡಿ, the primary female sex organ that produce the female gamete or several hormones, ovarian hormones. Ovaries are located on one of each side lower abdomen. Sarna? Each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium on the outside, enclosing the ovarian stroma on the inside. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ. The stroma is divided into two zones. ಎರಡು zone, one middle part, one outer part. Peripheral cortex, also called as outer cortex, and inner medulla. Okay. Now students, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ನೋಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. The only thing which you need to focus here is this part here. This part here. Okay. So clitoris is the tiny finger-like structure present at the top. Then there is labia majora, labia minora are the fleshy foldings present in the external genitalia. And vaginal orifice is the opening of the vagina through which the childbirth happens. Okay. But what is more important is this diagram. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇಂದ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. at the same time ನಿಮ್ದು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಡಿಕೋಡ್ ದ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನಾವು? ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಡಿಕೋಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನ ಈಗ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾ? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಡಿಕೋಡ್ ದ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನಾವು? ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಟೆಲ್ ಮಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. Can we start? ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ? ಏನ್ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ? ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ? ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿದ್ದೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನ. ಓಕೆ, ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಸರ್ನಾ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2-3 ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಓವರಿ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಸಿ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 2 ovaries here, 2 ovaries, and every single month alternatively they will release egg. Okay, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಎಗ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ಲಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ಈ ಓವರಿಯಿಂದ ಏನಾಯ್ತು? ಈಗ ಎಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಓವರಿಯಿಂದ ಎಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಈಗ. ಓಕೆ, ಎಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಎಗ್ ನ ಒಂದು ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಬಂದು ಎಗ್ ನ ಪಿಕಪ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಎಗ್ ನ ಈ ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫಿಂಬ್ರಿಯೇ. ಫಿಂಬ್ರಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪಿಕ್ ಅಪ್ ದ ಎಗ್. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪಿಕ್ ಅಪ್ ದ ಎಗ್. ಎಗ್ ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪಿಕಪ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಆಯ್ತು. ನಾವು ಎಗ್ ನ ಪಿಕಪ್ ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಹೋಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಆಸ್ಟಿಯಾ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಎಗ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಈಗ ಎಗ್ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾ ಎಗ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಸಿ ಅ ಫನಲ್ ಶೇಪ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಇದೊಂದು ಫನಲ್ ಶೇಪ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಇನ್ಫಂಡಿಬುಲಮ್. ಇನ್ಫಂಡಿಬುಲಮ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫನಲ್ ಶೇಪ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫನಲ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಇನ್ಫಂಡಿಬುಲಮ್. ಇನ್ಫಂಡಿಬುಲಮ್ ಇಂದ ಎಗ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ಅ ಮಚ್ ಮೋರ್ ವೈಡರ್ ಏರಿಯಾ. ಇದು ಫನಲ್, ಇದು ಫನಲ್ ಶೇಪ್, ಇದು ಫನಲ್ ಶೇಪ್, ಇದು ಮಚ್ ಮೋರ್ ವೈಡರ್ ಶೇಪ್, ವೈಡರ್ ಆಂಪ್ಯುಲಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಐ ಶುಡ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ಇದೇ ಆಂಪ್ಯುಲಾ ಇರೋದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಎಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್. if the sperm is entering the sperm and the egg will meet in the ampulla region. ಇದೇ ಆಂಪ್ಯುಲಾ ರೀಜನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಇದೇ ಆಂಪ್ಯುಲಾ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗೋದು. all the fertilization takes place in the ampulla region. Clear all of you? Clear. Now ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ fertilization ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the zygote will move from here. Zygote will move down. If there is no fertilization, the egg will move. Egg move ಆಗುತ್ತೆ to isthmus region. Isthmus, ampulla, infundibulum, fimbriae. All of this is a part of fallopian tube, also called as oviduct. It is a part of fallopian tube, also called as oviduct part. Idu sarna, oviduct part idilla. Infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus. Sarna. Now, if the egg or the zygote will enter the much more inverted pear shape. ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯದು? Inverted pear shape called as uterus. The entire part of uterus idu. Now uterus has 3 main layers. Very important, understand. Correct ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇದನ್ನ. The uterus has 3 main walls. ಎಷ್ಟು ವಾಲ್ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? 3 main walls ಇದೆ. First, outer wall is called as perimetrium. ಇಲ್ಲಿ outermost wall is called as perimetrium. ನೋಡಿ ಇದು perimetrium is the outermost wall. It is the outermost wall. ತುಂಬಾ thin layer ಇದು, ತುಂಬಾ thin layer ಇದು perimetrium. Then we have myometrium, students. Myometrium ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. myometrium ಏನ್ ಕತೆ? Myometrium is made up of smooth muscle cells. Smooth muscle, made up of smooth muscle. Okay, myometrium is made up of smooth muscle cell. Now it is made up of smooth muscle cell, and it also undergoes contraction. During childbirth. Childbirth time ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿನಾ? childbirth time ಅಲ್ಲಿ it undergoes contraction, change ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is myometrium. ಸರಿನಾ? myometrium ಆಯ್ತು. Now innermost layer is called as endometrium. Innermost layer. This layer is said to be glandular. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದು? Glandular layer ಇದು. Glandular. And it is producing something, substance produce ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It undergoes cyclic changes during menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle ಅಲ್ಲಿ it undergoes cyclic changes, that is endometrium. ಸರಿನಾ? endometrium. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್? endometrium, innermost layer, glandular, cyclic changes under menstruation. Myometrium, smooth muscle cells, contraction during childbirth. Perimetrium, outermost thin layer. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೂರು ಸೇರಿದ್ರೆ they are a part of uterus, walls of uterus. ಸರಿನಾ? Then we have something called as cervix. Cervix is a gap between uterus and vagina. Uterus ಮತ್ತೆ ವಜೈನಾ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಕ್ಯಾನಲ್ ಸರ್ವಿಕಲ್ ಕೆನಾಲ್. ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಈ ಸರ್ವಿಕಲ್ ಕೆನಾಲ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ವಜೈನಾ, cervical canal plus vagina together they will form something called as birth canal. Birth canal through which the child is born. Through which the child is born. Okay, so that is the beautiful explanation of your entire female reproductive structure. ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ. The oviduct of fallopian tube, uterus, vagina constitute the female reproductive structure. Infundibulum. First ಏನಿದೆ? The periphery of each ovary of uterus, the part closer to the ovary is the funnel shape. ನೋಡಿ, funnel shape ಓದ್ಬಾ? ಓದ್ವಿ. Funnel shape infundibulum. The edge of the infundibulum possesses finger-like structure called as fembriae. Okay, which help in collecting the ovum after ovulation. Ovulation ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ it picks up. Okay, the infundibulum leads to the wider area called as ampulla. ನೋಡಿ, funnel shape, wider area called as ampulla. Okay, the last part of oviduct, isthmus, is a narrow lumen and it joins the uterus. Yes, no? This is the narrow part. Isthmus is the narrow area, completely narrow region. Narrow region. Sarna, nodi next. Uterus is also called as womb, very important because also called as hysteria, womb. Cervical canal iratali. Now, 3 walls of tissue. The external thin layer, the thin layer is called as perimetrium. Middle thick layer of smooth muscle cells called as myometrium, and inner glandular layer is called as endometrium. Adu heladva navelli. Thin layer, smooth muscle cells, glandular layer. Okay na? Adamele ittu, the endometrium undergoes cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle, while myometrium, very important line, myometrium exhibits strong contraction during the childbirth. During the delivery of the baby alli strong contraction ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದು? ಮಯೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಂ. ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಂ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಮೆನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರುಯಲ್ ಸೈಕಲ್. ಸರಿನಾ? ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. Mons pubis is a cushy of fatty tissue covered by skin and hair. Labia majora are the fleshy foldings which tunnel up, and clitoris is present on the top. Okay, it's a fleshy foldings of tissue which extend down from the mons pubis and surrounding the vaginal opening. Sarna? Clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction. Labia majora, labia minora, ಮೇಲೆಗಡೆ clitoris ಇದೆ. Tiny finger-like structure. Sarna? Then there is also something called as hymen. And students, remember, breaking of hymen or due to any reasons does not indicate sexual experience. Sarna? So hymen can break in the female even without sexual intercourse. ಹಂಗೆ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. If the female is into sports ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, sudden fall ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಾರ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ರೈಡಿಂಗ್, any of the purposes. ಸರಿನಾ? That is your hymen. Now student, this is the structure of the mammary glands. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಮೇನ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೇನ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್. ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ನೀವು. ಸರಿನಾ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್, ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ is the character of all female mammals. Exception ಇಲ್ಲ. There is no exception at all. ನಿಮ್ದು platypus, right? Platypus, even though it looks like a reptile, it lays egg and everything, but it is still considered as mammal. Why? Because it has functional mammary glands. Platypus though. So all the mammals will have female mammals will have functional mammary glands. Female, ತುಂಬಾ important ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸರಿನಾ? The mammary glands are paired structures that contain the glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. The glandular tissue of each breast is divided into 20-25 mammary lobes. This is called as mammary lobes. Mammary lobes. 20-25 itra bunch irutte. This is one mammary lobe, second, third, fourth, 5. ಆ ತರ 15 to 20 mammary lobes ಇರುತ್ತೆ. 15 to 20 mammary lobes ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು. ಸರಿನಾ? Now students, containing clusters of cells called as alveoli. So 15-20 mammary lobes contains clusters of cells called as alveoli. It's ತುಂಬಾ important. Why is alveoli important? Alveoli is the site for milk production and also storage of milk in the lumen. ಎರಡು main function alveoli ಇದು. First main function ಏನು? First main function is to produce the milk. Second main function is store the milk. ಸರಿನಾ? The alveoli open. See, the cells of alveoli secrete milk which is stored in the cavity lumen of alveoli. Now students, in an examination ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ದ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್. ಸರಿನಾ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, all the milk is produced in the alveoli. Alveoli produce ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Alveoli ಇಂದ it goes to mammary tubules. It goes to mammary tubules. Mammary tubules. Mammary tubules in the mammary duct. Mammary tubules in the mammary duct. Mammary duct. Now, mammary duct in the lactiferous duct. Where is it? Several mammary ducts joined together form the wider mammary ampulla. Mammary ampulla. Okay. Mammary ampulla. Mammary ampulla. Okay. Mammary ampulla. Mammary ampulla, and it goes to lactiferous duct. It goes to lactiferous duct. Lactiferous duct. Lactiferous duct in the finally milk is released through nipples. ಈ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಕಲೀರಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ alveoli, mammary tubules, mammary duct, mammary ampulla, lactiferous duct, nipples. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಆಗಲೇ KCET ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ, ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ. ಸರಿನಾ? ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಕಲೀರಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್. ಸರಿನಾ? Now with that being said students, ಅದಾಯ್ತು. Now we will start with something called as your spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Start ಮಾಡದ students. So gametogenesis is the process by which gametes are being produced. Gametes ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡದೆ gametogenesis. Gametogenesis, gametes ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. Now spermatogenesis, oogenesis are two different events. Spermatogenesis happens in the case of males, oogenesis happens in the case of female. ಅಷ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸರಿನಾ? Now students, understand what exactly happens in the case of spermatogenesis. ತುಂಬಾ ಸತಿ ಕೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನ, ತುಂಬಾ ಸತಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇದು. ಸರಿನಾ? ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ರೈಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೌನ್. ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರೀರಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದು. ನೀವು ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ನ ಕಲಿಯಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ರೈಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೌನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಫಾಲೋ ವಿತ್ ಮೀ. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್. Spermatogenesis. Remember students, spermatogenesis, it starts at puberty. It starts at puberty. Puberty time ಅಲ್ಲಿ start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ in males. In males. Okay. Now initially we have a cell. Okay. We have a cell called as male germ cell. Male germ cell. The male germ cell is also called as spermatogonia. Spermatogonia. Okay, now this spermatogonia. One second, students. ಈ ಕಡೆ ಹಾಕದ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲ. Spermatogonia, also called as male germ cell. Okay, male germ cell. Now friends, understand this male germ cell is said to be diploid. Diploid. And they know it has 46 chromosomes. It has 46 chromosomes. Okay, 46 chromosomes there. Okay. Now this is the spermatogonia or male germ cell will undergo growth first of all. It will undergo mitosis. Mitosis. So this is the one cell. One cell which is diploid. It will increase in number. Increase in number. Mitosis. And remember students, yavattu mitosis adaga, there is no change in the ploidy. 2n idre 2n irutte, n idre n irutte. So in mitosis there is no change in ploidy. Ploidy yavattu change agalla illi. Sarna? Ploidy yavattu change agalla. Now one such spermatogonia undergoes growth. Beliyutte. Growth. When it undergoes growth, it increases in size. increase in size. Diploid aega, diploid. And this structure right here is called as your primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte right here. So now students understand this primary spermatocyte, okay, it will undergo something called as, this primary spermatocyte will undergo meiosis. Now undergoes meiosis. It undergoes meiosis. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತು, there is meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. When it undergoes meiosis, it will produce a structure called as, 1 ಇರೋದು 2 ಆಗುತ್ತಾ, 2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It will produce a structure called as secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte. Now unlike primary spermatocyte, after meiosis 1, the diploid is becoming what? The diploid is becoming haploid. Secondary spermatocyte. This is 22 plus X. This is going to be 22 plus Y. 22 plus Y. Then now, this is called a secondary spermatocyte. Students, understand. Now the secondary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 aita, there has to be meiosis 2. Yes or no? Meiosis 1 ಆದರೆ there should be meiosis 2 also. Okay. Now we'll make it undergo meiosis 2. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಹಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ. ಸರಿನಾ? Now we will have meiosis 2. It will undergo meiosis 2. Now once it undergoes meiosis 2, each one divided into 2 more cells. Yes or no? Yes sir. So after meiosis 2, we have 4 different haploid cells. 4 different haploid cells, and they are called as this is called as spermatids. They are called as what? They are called as spermatids. Now students, tell me, does it look like sperm? Students, do they look like sperm? Obviously not. Question is there. Do they look like sperm? Obviously not. They don't look like sperm at all. Sperm tarane illa adu. So now we do a process which will convert them to like sperm. And the process is called as spermiogenesis. It is called as what? Spermiogenesis. Okay. Spermiogenesis ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Spermiogenesis. After spermiogenesis, each individual spermatid will develop into a sperm. Now each individual spermatid will develop into a sperm, and the sperm is also called as spermatozoa. It is also called as what? It is also called as spermatozoa. Also called as sperm. And everything is haploid. Each and everyone is haploid. These two are 22 plus X. These two are 22 plus Y. 50% ratio. That is called as your motile sperm or motile spermatozoa. Now students, artha madkoli, all the sperm will not be released as such. Ange free floating agi release agalla. All the sperm is taken and the head of the sperm is embedded in the Sertoli cell. Kada? The head is embedded in Sertoli cell. Head is embedded in the Sertoli cell. Embedded in the Sertoli cell. Sertoli cell alli head embedded agide. Sarna? Now release of sperm from seminiferous tubule. See, is Sertoli cell ಇದೆ. Sertoli cell is present in the seminiferous tubule. Okay. Now release of sperm from seminiferous tubule. Release from seminiferous tubule, the process is called as permeation. That is called as what? Permeation. Permeation. I'll give you a small recap. Ellaru correct keleskolli ondsati from the top. Okay. Spermatogenesis starts at puberty. Spermatogonia or male germ cell diploid undergoes mitosis, grows in size. Size is ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Now one such oogonia is called as one such spermatogonia is called as primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. This undergoes meiosis to produce the secondary spermatocyte. Now in examination they can ask you, tell me the ploidy of secondary spermatocyte. Answer in avaga. Answer is haploid. Now secondary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis 2. Undergoes meiosis 2. Once it undergoes meiosis 2, it produces something called as non-motile spermatids. Non-motile spermatids undergo process called as spermiogenesis. Not spermato, spermiogenesis, and that will result into 4 different sperms which are all haploid, also called as spermatozoa. The head of the sperm is embedded in the Sertoli cell, and once the mature sperm is there ready, and whenever there is requirement, all the sperm are released from the Sertoli cell, from the seminiferous tubule, and that is called as permeation. Entire process of spermatogenesis ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಫೋಟೋ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ, ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ. ಬಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್. ಸರಿನಾ? ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಸೈಟ್, ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಸೈಟ್ಸ್, ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಗೋನಿಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇ. See, this is what is the, I told you, head of the sperm is embedded in the Sertoli cell. Now from Sertoli cell, from the seminiferous tubule, if the sperm is released, that is called as spermiation. After spermiogenesis, the head of the sperm becomes embedded in the Sertoli cell. After finally released from the seminiferous tubule by the process called as spermiation. So ನಿಮಗೆ full difference ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. Okay, you should know the entire difference between spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis, as well as spermiation. Spermatogenesis is the entire process. Spermiogenesis is the step of converting spermatid to sperm, spermiogenesis, and spermiation is the release of sperm from the seminiferous tubule. That is called as spermiation. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು? ಕ್ರೇಜಿ. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡು, ಅರ್ಥ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳ ಇದನ್ನ. There are many hormones involved, students. Many hormones involved in the process. For example, there is something called as GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Hypothalamus na signal ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. Hypothalamus na signal ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Okay. For GnRH will act on anterior pituitary. It will act on anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary will act on FSH and LH. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. FSH follicular stimulating hormone, LH luteinizing hormone. ಸರಿನಾ? S for easy to remember. This will function on Sertoli cell, work on Sertoli cell, and L will work on, it will function on Leydig cell. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನಲ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್. Okay, so FSH will act on Sertoli cell, LH will act on Leydig cell. Sertoli cell will do what? Sertoli cell will provide nutrition, while your Leydig cell will help in production of androgen. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನಲ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಅರ್ಥ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? ಈಸಿ ಇದೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಇದೆ. ಬಯಾಲಜಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ, ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ. This is the structure of sperm. Can all of you see? In the structure of sperm, we have something called as the entire sperm is covered by the plasma membrane. Then there is a cap-like structure here called as acrosome, which has a lot of enzymes, hydrolytic enzymes, to help the sperm enter into the egg. Egg ಒಳಗಡೆ entry ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ fertilization time ಅಲ್ಲಿ acrosome. In the middle, we have the middle part is called as the nucleus, and this nucleus is haploid nucleus. Okay, sperm is haploid. Okay, then there's the neck, then middle piece. This is called as middle piece, which is mitochondria for the energy produced ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, and finally there is the tail for the motility. For the motility. Clear, students? So acrosome, head, neck, middle piece, and tail. Okay. Now what is semen here? Semen ಏನು? Students, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ನೆನಪಿದೆಯಾ? Bulbourethral gland, seminal vesicle gland, and prostate gland. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ secretion ಮಾಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, all the secretion is called as seminal plasma. Seminal plasma. Seminal plasma is coming from all the three glands. Seminal plasma plus the sperm together, it is called as semen. It is called as semen. Very easy. Very easy. Clear? That is called as semen. Done. Now, student, next thing you need to understand is gametogenesis. You need to understand something called as oogenesis now. Oogenesis ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ concentration ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ extra ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Little bit extra concentration you do. Concentration ಕೊಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ oogenesis ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ. But it is very easy. Last topic for today. After this, I'm stopping the class. We'll do some questions and you can go back home. ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಮಲ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಸೊ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟುಡೇ. ರೆಡಿನಾ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ? ರೆಡಿನಾ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್? that is going to be oogenesis. Can we start? Oogenesis is very easy. It's only a matter of this chart. If one chart ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಫುಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀವೇ ಅನ್ನಿ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ ಬನ್ನಿ ಈಗ, ಓಕೆನಾ? oogenesis ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ. ಓಕೆ, oogenesis. Now students, first main point ಏನಪ್ಪಾ? Spermatogenesis ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು. ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ ಚಾಟ್ ತಿಳಿಸಿ ನಂಗೆ. When did the spermatogenesis start? Spermatogenesis started at the puberty ಅಲ್ಲಿ. But oogenesis starts at the embryonic stage. First main point ಏನು? It starts at the embryonic stage. Embryo stage ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಗು, ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ, ಅವಾಗಲೇ oogenesis ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ at the embryonic stage. ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯೂಬರ್ಟಿ ಆಗೋ ತನಕ, ಸರಿನಾ? ನಾವು ಏನಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್, first we have something called as oogonia. We have oogonia here. This is the oogonia. This right here is the oogonia. Okay, oogonia, which is said to be diploid. ಅಲ್ಲಿ spermatogonia ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ we have oogonia. Now this oogonia undergoes mitosis event starting. Mitosis ಹೋದ್ರೆ we'll end up getting two cells. Mitosis, students, mitosis ಅಲ್ಲಿ do we have change in the ploidy? Mitosis ಅಲ್ಲಿ, if this is 2n, this also will be 2n and 2n. There will not be change in ploidy, only increase in number. Okay, now students, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, very critical concept. Okay, one such oogonia starts to differentiate. It starts to differentiate and it grows also in size. And we end up getting the first it differentiates and we end up getting something called as primary oocyte. Now students, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ oocyte is what is the ploidy? Diploid. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ oocyte is said to be diploid in nature. ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, it is diploid in nature, ಸರಿನಾ? It is diploid. Now friends, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, this primary oocyte will start to undergo, very important concept, it will start to undergo meiosis 1 ಕೇವಲ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Meiosis 1 is starting, but it is completely stopping. That is, meiosis 1 is starting, but it is stopped. That is, it is stopped at the prophase 1 diploidine stage. It is suspended at prophase 1 that is diploidine stage. Diploidine stage ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್. ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೇನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗೋದು, ಸರಿನಾ? ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಕಲ್ತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಟಿಲ್ ನಾವು is at embryo stage. It is at embryonic stage. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲಿ ಕತೆ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕತೆ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬರ್ತ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಯ್ತು, ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್, ಮಗು ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್. And finally, the female child will reach puberty. Yes, the female child will reach puberty. And the first menstrual cycle ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಮೆನಾರ್ಕೆ, ಆ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ 1 ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ 1 ಪ್ಯೂಬರ್ಟಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ 1 which was started at the embryonic stage will finish only at puberty. It will finish only at puberty, giving rise to 2 different cells. Meiosis 1 is done, it will give rise to 2 different cells. One is called as the polar body, first polar body. There is first polar body, and also something called as one more cell is called as your secondary oocyte. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. I'll repeat again, students. Oogonia, mitosis, growth differentiation, primary oocyte. It will start to undergo meiosis 1. Meiosis 1 start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಮುಗಿಯಲ್ಲ. It is stop, suspend ಆಗಿದೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ? prophase 1 diploidine stage. ಈ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? Then childhood, puberty. Once the child reaches puberty, ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಈ ಫೈನಲಿ ಈ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ 1 ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It will give rise to the first polar body and secondary oocyte for the first time. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ? ಹೇಳಿ, ಬೇಗ ಹೇಳಿ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ? Did all of you understand till now? How did we end up getting the first polar body and secondary oocyte at puberty at the first menstrual cycle? Done. First menstrual cycle ಈ ತರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಮಂತ್ ಕೂಡ ಈ ತರ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಎವ್ರಿ ಮಂತ್ ಕೂಡ ಈ ತರ ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ oocyte ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗೋದಾ? ಮುಂದೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಕತೆ? The secondary oocyte. Now the secondary oocyte, will take the secondary oocyte. This secondary oocyte is right now haploid. Meiosis aita, so it is haploid. Okay, haploid in nature. Okay, now students, this secondary oocyte, which is haploid, it will start to undergo again. It will start to undergo what now? It will start to undergo meiosis 2. It will start to undergo meiosis 2. Again start. ಯಾಕೆ start to? It is not getting over again. ಮತ್ತೆ stop ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. The entire process is stopping again. It is again suspended. Again it is suspended at metaphase 2. Suspended at metaphase 2. Okay, na? That is the secondary oocyte. Here we have the secondary oocyte. Students, artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, very important concept right now. Very important. Okay, this secondary oocyte right here, when will it finish the second meiosis? The second meiosis will get over only and only when the secondary oocyte comes in contact with the sperm. when the secondary oocyte comes in contact with the sperm, ಆ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣನೇ ಈ ಫೈನಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಮುಗಿಯುತ್ತೆ, meiosis 2 ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, and we'll end up getting something called as ovum and second polar body. This is the second polar body. So can I tell second polar body is produced in the oviduct? Yake? No, ovum are not same. Your secondary oocyte, ovum are actually different. Technically speaking, they're different, not same to same. Okay, secondary oocyte is released during this thing. Again, now ange ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕಂತ, but technically speaking, secondary oocyte is different. It is different. Okay na? So secondary, this fertilization ಆಗ್ತಿದಲ್ಲ ಇದು, this is during fertilization. And all of you know fertilization takes place where? Fertilization takes place in the ampulla region. So second polar body is produced where? Second polar body is produced in the fallopian tube oviduct. Other first polar body is produced in the ovary. In the ovary, this one is produced in the oviduct. And the second structure is called as ovum. It is called as ovum or ooted. And this ovum or ooted fused with the nuclei of the sperm. A ಎರಡು nuclei fuse adara matra we get the zygote. Ampular isthmus junction alla, it is only ampulla now. Ampular region. Ampular isthmus junction munche irta ittu, but they have been removed from NCERT. It is only ampular region right now, not ampular isthmus. Karna? So beautiful diagram idayitu. Now students, ist kaltre mata salala. You need to study something called as embryogenesis also. Embryo development kuda ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋನಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we have something called as primary follicle. No, it's not embryo. Follicular development ಕಲಿಬೇಕು. Follicular development ಕಲಿಬೇಕು. Right now we have something called as primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, and Graafian follicle. Okay, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. Within the primary follicle, we have primary oocyte. Plus one layer of granulosa cells. Secondary follicle ಏನಿದೆ? Secondary follicle ಅಲ್ಲಿ again we have primary oocyte plus more layer of granulosa cells. Okay na? More layer of granulosa cells, and there is also theca formation here. Plus theca formation is also happening. Now what about tertiary follicle? Understand students, very important concept. ಈ ತರ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Tertiary follicle ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Tertiary follicle ಅಲ್ಲಿ primary oocyte is getting converted to secondary oocyte. Okay na? Secondary oocyte plus a fluid filled cavity called as antrum ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Fluid filled cavity called as antrum ಇರುತ್ತೆ, and theca externa theca interna ಕೂಡ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. theca externa and theca interna ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Now Graafian follicle ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Graafian follicle ಅಲ್ಲಿ at puberty ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Completely rupture ಆಗುತ್ತೆ at puberty and release of secondary oocyte. Now students, ಇದಕ್ಕೇನು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಸರಿನಾ? ಈ ಎರಡು ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು. ಈ ಎರಡು ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ NCERT ಓದ್ತೀನಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರಿನಾ? You understand better. See, students, artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. The process of formation of mature female gamete is called as oogenesis. First point clear ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ, which is marked different from the spermatogenesis. Oogenesis is initiated during the embryonic developmental stage when a couple of millions of gametes, mother oogonia, are formed within each fetal ovary. Yes or no? At embryonic stage, millions of fetal oogonia are formed. Okay. No more oogonia are formed and added after birth. So ಎಷ್ಟು oogonia ಮುಂಚೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟು oogonia ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ. ಸರಿನಾ? These cells start division and enter into a prophase 1 and meiotic division and gets temporarily arrested at that stage. Okay, stage called as primary oocyte. Yes or no? Ali primary oocyte suspended at prophase 1 after meiosis 1 at embryonic stage. Illi sarna primary follicle called as primary oocyte. Now each primary oocyte then gets surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells called as primary follicle. Nodi, ee primary oocyte inda ee primary oocyte akkapakdalli we have one layer of granulosa cells, and we will call it what? We will call it primary follicle. Primary oocyte, one layer of granulosa cells. Now, the large number of these follicles degenerate during the phase from birth to the puberty. Therefore, at puberty, all 60 to 80,000 primary follicles are left. Okay. The primary follicle gets surrounded by, primary follicle gets surrounded by more layer of granulosa cells, and new theca are formed called as secondary follicle. Primary follicle, primary oocyte, more layer of granulosa cells, theca formation. Okay, now next, the secondary follicle soon transforms into tertiary follicle. Tertiary follicle, which is characterized by a fluid filled cavity called as antrum. The theca layer is organized into theca, inner theca called as interna and theca outerna. This important alla, most important point. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿದ್ನ ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಇವತ್ತು. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, it is important to draw your attention ಬನ್ನಿ that it is at this stage, ಯಾವಾಗ tertiary follicle, that primary oocyte within the tertiary follicle, grows in size and completes its first meiotic division. It is unequal division resulting in the formation of the large haploid secondary oocyte. So secondary oocyte formation ಎಲ್ಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? Secondary oocyte formation tertiary follicle ಒಳಗಡೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. And first polar body ಇಲ್ಲಿ meiosis 1 is completed. First polar body and secondary oocyte. ಈ secondary oocyte ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ? ಈ secondary oocyte ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ we have the tertiary follicle. Primary oocyte is getting converted to tertiary follicle. Primary oocyte is getting converted to secondary oocyte and tertiary follicle. In the tertiary follicle, very important line of NCERT. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. It is important to draw your attention that at this stage the primary oocyte within the tertiary follicle grows in size and completes the first meiotic division. Artha ಏನು? This is happening during the first menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ಇದು, or hereafter, before every menstrual cycle this is happening. Now students, the secondary oocyte retains the bulk of the nutrient of the cytoplasm. Everybody ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಇದೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ. At present we are not very certain about this. The tertiary follicle further changes into Graafian follicle. The secondary oocyte forms a new membrane called a zona pellucida layer. Akka we have a zona pellucida layer is formed here, surrounded. The Graafian follicle now ruptures and releases the secondary oocyte. ಏನು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? Secondary oocyte. Your Graafian follicle is releasing the secondary oocyte. Only. Releasing secondary oocyte during menstrual cycle. So menstruation ಆದಾಗೆಲ್ಲ egg technically ಬರಲ್ಲ. What is coming out? Secondary oocyte is coming out during menstrual cycle. ಸರಿನಾ? So during ovulation we have the secondary oocyte coming out. Third, don't worry about tertiary on all. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದು, ಇಷ್ಟು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್, ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ, ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇರೋದು, ಸರಿನಾ? ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಮುಗಿಯುತ್ತೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್, ಸರಿನಾ? ನೋಡಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಪ ನಾವು ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ oocyte ಓವಮ್, ನೋಡಿ ಓವಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಓವಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರಿಬಹುದು, ಬಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ oocyte ಇಸ್ ದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ oocyte ಇಸ್ ದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಓಕೆ, from the ovary by the process called as ovulation. Ovulation ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Release of the secondary oocyte. Release of secondary oocyte is called as your ovulation. ಸರಿನಾ? ಯಾಕೆ ನೋಡಿ ovulation ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. This remaining part will get converted to corpus luteum eventually. Corpus luteum eventually. ನೋಡಿ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Spermatogonia, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocyte, spermatid, spermatozoa. 23 ಇದು ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ. ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ ಆಗೋ ತನಕ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಸರಿನಾ? ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ ಆಗೋ ತನಕ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇದೆ, ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಸರಿನಾ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣನೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿಯೋಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಸರಿನಾ? ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬರ್ತ್, ಪ್ಯೂಬರ್ಟಿ ಆಗಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್, ಸರಿನಾ? ಅಡಲ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್. ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬೇಗ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಂಗೆ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬೇಗ. With reference to human sperm, match the following. Head ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಹೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್? ಹೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, contains haploid nucleus. Acrosome contains your enzymes. Middle piece contains mitochondria. Tail is for sperm motility. So answer ಏನು? A is going to be S, 2 is going to be P. ಇದೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಹುಡುಗ, ಯಾರೋ ಹುಡುಗ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಈಗ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಇದು ನಾನು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಇಂದ ನಾನು ಸ್ನಿಪ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿನಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಡಿಯೋಸ್ದು, ಸರಿ? ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಫೋಟೋಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಇಂದ, ಇದು ನಿಮ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಇದು, ನಿಮ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಇಂದ ನಾನು ಫೋಟೋ ತಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದೀನಿ ಇದನ್ನ, ಸರಿನಾ? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ. ಇನ್ ದ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ reproductive system, a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of the two labia minora above the urethral opening is called as clitoris. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಫಿಂಗರ್-like structure clitoris ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ, which ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, which the following hormones is not, ಇದು ಬೇಡ, ಇದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ಸರಿನಾ? In the human females, the endometrium of uterus consists of smooth muscles ಇಲ್ಲ, that is myometrium. Glandular layer, yes, it is glandular layer. Also secretion, glandular layer secretes something, ಸರಿನಾ? ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ, ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಹುಡುಗ, ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. The male axillary ducts includes, ಸರಿನಾ? Axillary duct ಇದು ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಸರಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯುರೆಥ್ರಾ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಯುರೆಥ್ರಾ is not a duct, urethra is the opening, urethra is the so long tube passage, urethra will not come, this is not the answer, ಸರಿನಾ? Seminal vesicle is the gland, ಬರಲ್ಲ ಇದು, ಸರಿನಾ? Seminal vesicle ಕೂಡ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಇದು. So radial testis, it is a duct. Radial testis, vas efferentia, epididymis and vas deferens is the right answer. A is the right answer. ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ತಾನೆ? ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಆಫ್ KCET. ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಜಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ. ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈಸಿ ಈಗ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದಾರಪ್ಪ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಇಫ್ ಟೂ ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಸೈಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ 2 primary oocyte undergoing meiosis simultaneously. So primary spermatocyte, okay, spermatocyte and primary oocyte is undergoing meiosis. ಎರಡು meiosis ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ, ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಸೈಟ್ ಇಂದ how many sperm do we get students? ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಸೈಟ್ ಇಂದ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್? ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್? ಒಂದ, ಎರಡ, ಮೂರ, ನಾಲ್ಕ, ಐದ? ಹೇಳಿ ಬೇಗ ಹೇಳಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮರ್ತೋಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟಕ್ ಟಕ್ ಪಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಸೈಟ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? 1, 2, 3, 4 ನಾಲ್ಕನೇ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್. 4 ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, 4 ಮಾಡೋದು ಮತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ 4 sperm. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಮಿಯೋಸಿಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಗ್ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ? ಒಂದೇ ತಾನೇ ಎಗ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು, ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಎಗ್ ವಾಸ್ ದೇರ್. ನಾವು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ 2 ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ 2 2 2 ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, 2 ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ 2 2 ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಂಟು 2 ಮಾಡಿದ್ನ ಇಂಟು 2 ಬೇಗ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನನಗಿಂತ ಬೇಗ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಟು 2 ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು 4 2 8 8 is to 2 ಇದು 8 is to 2 ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಇದು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as 4 is to 1 ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ, ಇದು 4 is to 1 ಅಲ್ಲ. 4 is to 1 ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? 4 is to 1 ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಬಿ ಇಸ್ ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಬಾಬು ಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ನೋಡು, 4 is to 1 ಆನ್ಸರ್, 4 is to 1. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ KCET ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, KCET ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಯಾಲಜಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ. ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ, ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಫುಲ್ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಅದು, ಫುಲ್ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಕವರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಔಟ್ ಇನ್ ಬಯಾಲಜಿ. ಆ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಸರಿನಾ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ. The testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity in a scrotum. ಯಾಕೆ? Why scrotum? Maintain the low temperature. ಕಲ್ತೀವಿ ಇವತ್ತೆ ನಾವು. To maintain the low temperature 2 to 3 degrees less in the body temperature ಬೇಕು sperm production ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಆಯ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. now ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೋಮ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ಇದು ನಂಗೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಳಿಸಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನ. ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ, ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಹೂ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್, ಹೂ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್, oogenesis, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ನಂಗೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ತಿಳಿಸಿ. ಲೈವ್ ಚಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮುಗ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ನೀವು, ಹೆಂಗಿತ್ತು ಕ್ಲಾಸು, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತಾ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ? ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಸೊ that will give us more motivation to do more videos like this, ಸರಿನಾ? So if you guys show more support, we will do 2 lectures or 3 lectures per day, per week from biology, ನನ್ನಿಂದಾನೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? So see this, identify the odd one out. odd one out ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? infundibulum, fimbriae, isthmus. ಈ ಮೂರು ಕೂಡ they are a part of fallopian tube, labia minora, external genitalia, vulva ಅದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈಸಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇದು. ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೊ ಮಚ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟುಡೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಮಜಾ ಬಂತು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು. ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಬಂದಿರಿ ನೀವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ. ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ಯು ಇನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು. ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೋದು ಮರಿಬೇಡಿ. ಚಾನಲ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ, ಅದೇ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗಿಂತ, ಸರಿನಾ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಮೇಟ್ ತೋರಿಸಿ, ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ತೋರಿಸಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ತರ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಟೀಚರು ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರವನ್ನೇ. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡನ್ ಮೈ ಅಂಡರ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್, ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್ and PhD scholar, everything in Bangalore only. ಸರ್ PhD ಮುಗ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಕ್ರೈಸ್ಟ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್, ಸೆಂಟ್ ಜೋಸೆಫ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. ಓಕೆ, so thank you so much students for today's class. Have a great day ahead and bye bye, take care, and I will see you in the next class. Bye bye, take care all of you. Bye bye.